What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. Stocks crashed today all across the board. Apple, Tesla, and many other stocks sank down in a major way. Even Target and Walmart got destroyed. Tesla kind of got kicked out of the S&P 500 index today. We have a lot to talk about with that, but a lot of big news happened today. So stick around to the end. We have a lot of important things to talk about, but we're not going to waste any time. So Tom, tell us about this Tesla situation and just what's going on overall.
Yeah, it's terrible. So Tesla actually got kicked out of the S&P 500, but it's not what everybody thinks. So people are thinking, hey, Tesla's going to be out of the S&P 500, which is pretty much the SPY, but that's not the case. They're only out of the ESG index, which pretty much looks at a bunch of environmental factors and other things like that. And pretty much Tesla got kicked out of this today. And they said that that's because of a low carbon strategy and pretty much how they conduct their business. They actually said that there was actually some racism going on within Tesla as well. But we'll kind of get into the article here on CNBC because Elon is really hitting on the ESG here, pretty much saying that the metrics are the devil incarnate, and he's been hitting on them all day long. But pretty much what the ESG does is they use environmental, social, and governance data to rank and effectively recommend companies to investors. Its criteria include hundreds of data points per company that pertain to the way business affect the planet and treat stakeholders beyond shareholders, including customers, employees, vendors, partners, and neighbors. So in short, they really like to look at a lot of environmental and social factors to kind of rank these companies, and they took Tesla off of the list. But if we scroll down here, what's interesting is Elon Musk was saying that Exxon is actually top 10 on the list. So that's interesting considering Exxon is like an oil company. You would think that that definitely isn't too good when you look at those environmental factors. So this is a pretty big situation, Mike. They're technically out of this ESG index that's part of the S&P Global here. So it's definitely big. And I hope Tesla stock doesn't fall too much because of it.
Yeah, so I just want to emphasize Tesla is still in the S&P 500. I just want to emphasize this because I know some people are going to get confused. They are only being removed from the S&P 500 ESG index, okay? So make sure that is understood. But overall, this is interesting news, and I know Elon was really firing back with this on Twitter, Tom. Look what he posted.
Yeah, this is an hilarious meme. What is an ESG score? It determines how compliant your business is with the leftist agenda. And as we know, Elon has been getting extremely political over the past few weeks as well. He, like you said at the top here, Tesla does more for the environment than any company ever. I'm not sure I agree with that statement totally, but with them kind of getting the fueled cars off the road and replacing them with electric cars, that's a huge thing for the world. And I think he's done pretty good. He even tweeted today, political attacks on me will escalate dramatically in the coming months. And who knows, Mike, this S&P ESG index, like with Tesla getting the boot, that could be a little bit of like a political attack because obviously, they're kind of towards, kind of like those clean energy companies and stuff like that. And it's kind of interesting to see them going against Tesla here. Like Elon says, you would really expect them to keep Tesla in there, given how clean energy and how clean Tesla has really done a lot of things throughout their company history.
Yeah, so it's interesting either way, and I can definitely see this being like a political attack as it is, but yeah, it's very interesting. Tesla stock definitely struggled today overall. It fell by almost 7%, but honestly, I wouldn't attribute this fall solely to the news because like even stocks like Apple fell by like 6 or 7%, and it was just a bloody day in the market overall.
Yeah, it was. It was terrible. The Dow itself was down 1,200 points. The SPY itself was down 4%. Yeah, it was definitely big. I know Target and Walmart were really the key things that were falling this morning that really helped the market fall off here. Even one of my favorite stocks, Kraft Heinz was down 9.5% today, really falling off. So it sucks to see these big retailers starting to come down. I know Walmart had earnings a couple days ago. Target had earnings this morning, and Mike, they're just attributing these big drops to obviously inflation. There's higher costs going on. There's a lot of supply chain issues too. And I know you made an intraday video today explaining everything about it, so we don't have to get too nitty gritty here. But overall, like, look at it. Look at this. They're down 24, almost 25% today. This was just such a brutal drop, and it bled into everything. Like you said, Mike, Tesla, even Costco was down like 12%. Amazon was down 7%. So it's getting bloody here.
Yeah, the retail stocks got hit especially hard, specifically Target and Walmart. Like you already said, their costs are rising, everything from staffing costs to supply chain problems to, people being more, I guess you could say, more conservative in how they spend their money now with everything we have going on in the world. So even though like these retail companies like Costco or like Target and Walmart, even though they brought in great revenue that beat expectations, the profit really took a hit and the stocks fell a lot. And I honestly think that they can fall more given their current valuations. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty tough day. And before we move on, Tom, I just want to talk about Tesla one more time. This ESG news, I know it is very political. So I don't see this news, honestly, I don't see this news dictating or having too much of an influence on Tesla stock over like the next couple weeks or months or anything like that. I really see it as like a political stunt.
Yeah, me too. I think that's a really good point, because whenever we look at Tesla here, I feel like a lot of people are going to see this news come out and then they're going to see, them falling down 6.8% and probably get pretty worried here over the next couple weeks, which, it's probably good to be worried because the overall market hasn't really been doing too well lately. But what I will say is Tesla is still up a little bit from the recent lows. You can see that this daily candle here extended down to like 680. So we're still like 30 points away from the low there. So, we're not necessarily like flying down yet, but we'll have to see what happens over the next couple days. And I agree. I don't think that news is going to necessarily affect it too much. Keep in mind that political news comes out against a lot of companies, and it's happened a lot in the past too. So keep that in mind as well.
Alrighty. Well, Tom, what else do we have going on in the market? What's new?
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. So pretty much the retailers are getting having destruction today. It's obviously causing a big downturn in the market, Mike. The SPY had a bad day. We actually fell below $400 all the way down to $390 here at the low. And one thing I want to point out is that it seems like some of these hedge plays might be pretty good for the next couple of weeks. SPXS might be pretty good. Like, look at this. It was up 12% today. This probably would have been a pretty good intraday play if you're looking at the overall market here. I feel like this is going to be a pretty big stock over the next couple of weeks if we continue to see the market fall off. But what I do want to point out is that we're sitting like right around this 390 support. I do feel like the SPY could possibly end up popping back up a little bit, especially in the morning tomorrow, Mike. Like, this was such a brutal day. I mean, obviously it can continue, but I would almost have to expect some type of slight pullback back to the upside.
Yeah, we'll see. Alrighty, well, before we move on, I just want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day, Dan Z, in the Discord. Huge shout out to Dan. Thank you so much for all of your support for Stocked Up, and I know you just recently joined the Discord again, so we look forward to having you back in the chat, and huge shout out to you. But Tom, let's get right into these momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Netflix to the downside.
Yeah, poor Netflix here. Go ahead and make them break below 176.
Alrighty, and with the next one, we have RCL also to the downside.
Yeah, I think all the plays are going to be down today. Go ahead and make them break below 58.80.
Yep, you already know. And then with the last one, we have UPS also to the downside.
Yeah, go ahead and make UPS break below 171 even there.
Alrighty, so we're watching these three stocks for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. But overall, Tom, today was a pretty bad day in the markets, as we've already said a couple times, but we are not making new lows on the S&P 500, at least right now. While today was horrible and some of the biggest stocks in the market fell a ton, we are still up over like the past couple days. Like, the low for the S&P 500 is around $385.15. Right now it's sitting just above $390. So while today was really bad, technically we're still up over the past couple days. So keep that in mind. This fall is a little bit different than what we've seen over the past 2 weeks or so, given that we do have some support coming up right around 385 on the SPY.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty big for tomorrow. I feel like we might see some price action down there around 385 if we do end up falling down. And I did kind of want to point out something on the SPY. If we look at like the 1 hour chart here, it's kind of following this little upper trend line here to the downside. We can see it's kind of hit off of this a couple times now. And I'm curious to see if maybe we'll bounce off this support and maybe start to trade up through that trend line and start to break back through $400 here. It would definitely make for some good price action if that did happen. So hopefully the market holds here. It's definitely at a big support, Mike. And if it ends up breaking below, like I said, SPXS or something like that might be a good way to go. But, definitely make it break below, because as we know, Mike, the market's been so shaky lately. I feel like there's been tons of fake outs. And look at this, like over the past couple of days, the market had so much momentum yesterday. I feel like a lot of traders were starting to get pretty bullish. And then today, obviously, he gave all those gains back.
Yeah, and I think we're in for a very volatile ride, not only over the next couple weeks, but for the rest of the year. Like, this year so far has been absolutely insane in terms of market movement, but also like economic data and just world events like Russia invading Ukraine, a negative GDP reading, rates rising, inflation going crazy. So while everything has been crazy lately, it's probably just the beginning. And I just want to say, that doesn't mean stocks have to fall. Like, just because stocks fell over the past 6 months and there's been a lot of unpredictable events, and while there will probably be more volatility over the rest of the year, that does not always equate to falling stock prices. It's very easy to see stocks going crazy also to the upside.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mike. That's definitely a good point here. We're not just going to go straight down. There's going to be a lot of mixed movement here. And as we know, we could end up consolidating for a while down here by the lows as well. There's tons of ways that the market could end up being played out. And hopefully, we start moving back up with some of those growth stocks again. I know it was seeming pretty good, Mike. And, it was actually decent for DraftKings, believe it or not. They ended up closing even on the day. And I'll take that on a day where tons of other growth stocks were falling down like 5 to 10%. Even Roblox and RUN was up in the green. So, hey, I'll take it. We did have some green today, even though most stocks were in the red.
True that. And I want to say, if you guys liked today's video, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. And let us know what stocks you're watching in the comments down below. A lot of times, the stocks you guys comment, we end up covering. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and let's have a great end to the week.